Alrighty, here's a tough one. We're going to be outlining physiques from the 1980s/1990s and some other outliers that I personally believe, at least in FFMI, aka fat-free mass index terms, are attainable for the average gym goer that has, average genetics. Now, obviously, due to the way muscles insert on your bones, the shape of the muscles themselves, and your overall body structure is made, everyone's results will be unique to themselves, and as a result, it is important to understand you cannot actually achieve the sort of look someone else has, and instead you're subject to whatever genetic blueprint your body has written even before you were born. Now, to understand how to go about this topic, it is first important to grasp the notion that social media today has severely skewed the idea of how a human body is supposed to look like. The amount of body dysmorphia that's prevalent in today's lifters is just the sort of control the mental health clinics are going to be raking in billions in the upcoming years. The constant exposure to popular fitness influencers, in particular ones that often claim natural when in reality they're not, is creating a false sense of hope that the average layman can attain similar results to the ones they see on screen. And as time goes on, and the lifter realizes he's getting nowhere near the results he set out for himself to attain, all of a sudden he's left with disappointment of thinking there's something wrong with him, which creates a negative feedback loop. As a result, it is important now, more than ever, to educate newcomers to fitness on what kind of results they can expect to achieve, whether they have bodybuilding aspirations or some other strength training endeavors, so that they don't end up in this same hole most other fake natty, so to speak, influenced newcomers do. Before we delve deeper, a quick explanation on the standards of FFMI. FFMI stands for Fat-Free Mass Index and is a super popular method amongst the lifter community for calculating their standing of how much muscle mass they have in relation to their body weight, where they stand compared to other lifters, and just simply give a sort of general outline on what the genetic ceiling is for natural lifters. You can use the FFMI calculators available online as a sort of metric for a variety of statistics in relation to your body fat, your body weight, and height. A general rule of thumb most experienced lifters agree on is that the upper limit of what you can achieve as a drug-free lifter is typically number 25, with obviously some wiggle room above this number for the, more genetically gifted individuals that still choose not to go to the enhanced route. The crudely depicted schematic here outlines the far left end of the spectrum as newbies, while the far right depicts only the most genetically gifted and enhanced individuals. And as such, it is important to have realistic goals in mind, and that's where the FFMI calculation helps immensely. By putting things in a realistic perspective, you'll know roughly where your journey will take you. For this video, I will be outlining physiques that are on the, call it, upper echelon of what you can aspire towards if your goals are purely bodybuilding oriented. And as a result, in no particular order, we have one of my all-time favorites, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Van Damme's height is clocked at 5'9" 3/4" with most online sources, and a reported body weight of anywhere between 180 to 190 pounds during the height of his filming career. And seeing as he's mostly maintaining a pretty lean look year-round, this marks his estimated FFMI to be around 24 to 25, which is considered close to the max for what most of the, general bodybuilding population of lifters can hope to achieve in terms of muscle mass without the use of performance-enhancing drugs. Next up, we got the legendary Dolph Lundgren, standing at a massive 6'4" and a reported body weight of 240-ish pounds in specifically the movie Rocky IV. Despite the irony of the character he plays being enhanced, Dolph's physique still falls in that naturally attainable fat-free mass index number. And as such, if you plug in his numbers in Rocky IV, aka 240 pounds at 6'4", most fat-free mass index calculators are clocking his FFMI number to be at 24.7, which is still below the commonly suggested natural limit of 25, making his physique technically considered to be within the realms of what's naturally possible to achieve. Barring the height, of course, as, we haven't yet discovered that program. Another build similar to Van Damme in terms of height is another one of my all-time favorites, Scott Adkins. Mr. Atkins' height is reported to be around that 5'10" range, with bodyweight estimates around 180 pounds to 190 pounds in his most popular movies. Eerily similar to that of Van Damme, and if we plug in his numbers in most calculators, his physique too can be considered the upper limit for what we can strive for naturally. What other better way to enrich a mostly 80s/90s action star lineup, barring Mr. Atkins of course, than to add in Mr. Sylvester Stallone? Most sources online are somewhat conflicting on what his actual height is, ranging anywhere between 5'7" and 5'10". The star calculation for him will be somewhat more off, but still within the parameters that's going to allow us to work out some, general information about the natty limit. Unlike others on this list, the physique we saw in Rocky III, Rocky IV, and Rambo can typically be considered shredded by most fitness standards, and as such, despite my approval of his physique as being obtainable naturally, I would steer clear of trying to maintain a shredded single-digit body fat look unless you're trying to peak for some kind of bodybuilding show, as the downsides to your overall well-being, including hormones and whatnot, are detrimental to your long-term progress. Regardless of how it is, the reported body weight he was sporting in Rocky III is around 165 to 170 pounds pretty lean, in the single digits in terms of body fat, which, if we take the median of his reported height sources and the median reported body weight he had between Rocky III and Rocky IV, this would chalk up his FFMI to be just below the 24 FFMI mark, thus making his look a natural achievable one.